在第13课，我们要学习怎么做中国菜，或者就是至少怎么讨论怎么做中国菜啊。我们有3个语法点，一个是一什么什么就什么什么，二 topic common sentences，三 the emphatic 是。All right, we're gonna take these kind of one by one. The first two are reviews, and the third one is pretty straightforward. But I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about each. If you're interested in watching the whole video, good, more power to you. Otherwise, feel free to skip around and just look at bits and pieces of each of the 3 grammar explanations that I'm going to give. Okay, 依旧, we learned this before, meaning as soon as, then. Right, so it's E plus a verb action plus 就 plus another verb action. One action followed immediately by another action. For example, I can say 我一吃味精就得喝很多水. So e and 就 are both adverbs, right? It's always E plus a verb or 就 plus a verb. So 我一吃味精 as soon as I eat MSG, then 就得喝很多水. So this is one action followed by another actions. 依旧. Now, one thing that we're going to talk about in this, or the one thing that we'll encounter in this level, is a slight alteration of the structure, where instead of saying E plus verb plus 就 plus verb, you just have that E plus verb structure. So this is not necessarily referring to 2 actions that are one following the other action. If you just have the 依旧 structure, 依旧 will express the completion of a brief action, which is followed by a second clause. It is followed by a second verb, but this verb is not necessarily another action. It could be a statement about something that follows the first action. It's a subtle difference. Just remember, like if you look at our example here, these are both direct kind of actions, like almost even physical actions that are happening. As soon as I eat MSG, then I need to drink a lot of water. These are physical actions, but with the 依旧 structure, it might not be E plus verb structure. It might not be followed by 就. It might be followed by a statement that logically connects to the first action. So, for example, 上车一看, this is the E plus verb structure. As soon as they get in the car, well, what's gonna happen? 车里还有一个女孩子. Okay, this is a statement. In the car there is a girl. Now, it's implied that there's a girl because they got on the car and they looked at the girl. Right, so if you were going to turn this into an 依旧 structure, which you can do, you would say 上车一看, or you would say 一上车. So the way to turn this into an 依旧 structure, 他们一上车就看见车里有一个女孩子. But because we're just using the kind of shortened version of the 依旧 structure, you would just say 上车一看, and it implies that what follows is a statement of the thing that connects to the first action. 车里有一个女孩子. And this is not really a very important distinction because the 依旧 structure will get the job done in almost any situation. But there is this subtle difference between the E plus verb structure and the full E plus verb plus 就 plus verb structure. And that's something that we're not necessarily going to be using a lot. But you might see it as you will see it now in our textbook dialogue. And it's something to just be aware of. 好, our second grammar point is topic comment sentences. Now, we've previously talked about topic comment sentences. Actually, we've seen a lot of different topic comment sentences in level in Chinese 2 and Chinese 3. not necessarily direct topic comment sentences, but using the same structure where the so-called topic, aka the object of the sentence, moves forward to the front of the sentence, and you put the verb phrase at the back of the sentence. So this reversal of the typical sentence subject plus verb plus object structure is something that we've seen all the time with structures like 一什么什么都什么什么什么，连什么什么什么都什么什么什么。The ba structure is like this. The bei structure is like this. The 什么什么都 structure is like this. So these are all structures that kind of use this topic comment idea. And necessarily they're topic comment sentences themselves. They're specific structures, but they use this idea of a topic comment. So just to review a topic comment, what happens is you put the verb at the back and the object at the front. And the reason for this is in conversation, you want to emphasize whatever is being emphasized, you can put first, and then you make comment on it afterwards. So for example, if you're already talking about this pen, I would say the word pen first, and then I would complete the rest of my thought about the pen, which is a verb phrase. For example, 我昨天买了一支笔, and then this B person A said that, and person B would respond, 那支笔你用了吗? That pen have you used? So in fact, topic comment sentences will also occur in English as well. My mom's plane ticket I bought yesterday. Right? That's something that you might see in English as well. The reason is mom's plane ticket is the object of the sentence, but it's a topic, and you put it first, and then you kind of comment on it afterwards. Right? 你的衬衫我给你妈妈了. Right? Or 朋友我有很多，可是都不在这儿。飞机票妈妈已经帮她买了. Right? So the plane ticket the mom already bought for her. Again, something that you might hear and see in English. In level 23, our topic comment sentence that we see in our textbook dialogue is 今天是周末，功课也做完了. So today's the weekend, and then the homework is already finished. Again, something you might see in English. Homework is already finished, right? Technically, if you were to turn this into a regular subject, verb, object sentence, you would say 今天是周末也做完了功课, which would be a perfectly grammatical sentence, right? Like 我也做, or 张天明 in this case. 张天明也做完了功课. You could say that. But because the topic is homework, and that's kind of what you want to emphasize, as opposed to the verb or the subject, you put it first, say 功课也做完了. So because 功课也做完了, then 张天明就可以给柯林打电话 blah 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 想和他的女朋友丽莎吃中国饭. Okay, our third grammatical structure is the so-called emphatic 是. Our third grammatical structure is a so-called emphatic. So this is a new structure that we haven't talked about before. But generally speaking, our third structure is the so-called emphatic 是. This is something that is new to level 23. If you remember, generally speaking, you never use 是 in front of adjectives as predicates. For example, if I want to say, I'm very good, I would say 我很好. There's no 是 there, right? We use 是 in front to connect a subject to a noun. However, there are situations, so now we kind of get into more complicated Chinese where there are always exceptions to different grammatical ideas. You can use 是 before an adjective when you're trying to emphasize that adjective. So the grammatical purpose it serves is not to connect a subject and a predicate, because you don't need to do that for adjectives, but you're emphasizing you're in a special way that adjective. You're stressing its importance, and you can do that with 是. It's also important that the topic has already been mentioned in the conversation. So you wouldn't use it out of the blue. You use it specifically in the flow of a conversation. You're trying to stress that something is the case. Let's look at some. The emphatic 是 plus adjective in this context is very similar to 真 plus adjective. It's an affirmatory, exclamatory expression. Let's look at some examples. In this conversation, A says, 住在这个宿舍很方便. Okay, so here's the adjective, right? 很方便. So then B is probably going to emphasize that yes, it is. It is really convenient. 住在宿舍是方便啊，去上课、去医院、去餐厅都不远。So here 是 is pretty similar to 真 right? I can say 住在宿舍真方便。But I'm using 是 here, so it's a little better to use 是, or it's more natural to use 是 because I'm responding to what A said. Right? A said 很方便. I'm agreeing with him. 是方便. I'm stressing, I'm emphasizing my agreement. Let's take another example. A says, 这儿中国菜很地道，是真的吗? And then B says, 这个饭馆的菜是不错. Right, so here we have two instances of the emphatic 是. A is saying, the food here is very authentic, right? So here's the adjective, 很地道. And it's like, 是很地道吗? So it's implied that 是here is referring back to the 很地道. 是很地道吗? Is it really? 很地道, and you say, 这个饭馆的菜是不错. Yes, I'm emphasizing that it is really pretty good. 好，这是我们今天的3个语法点，和这是我们第23个单元的最后的一个视频。谢谢大家的收听。